Hi, I'm Alison Warner, founder of Evolve and Grow and author of Build and Grow. Welcome to the Evolve and Grow podcast show, where I share lots of useful tips and advice to tradespeople who are looking to move off the tools and grow a really successful business. This podcast is all about attracting and hiring quality in 2022. I felt compelled to create this podcast as ineffective recruitment is preventing many construction and trade businesses from growing more than ever before. It's a well-known fact that in order for any business to succeed, one of the hardest aspects can be attracting and hiring good people. Challenging for any business, but arguably harder in the construction and trade industries, and even more challenging right now in April 2022. Notice that I'm not just banding it all together and calling it recruitment. This is because I strongly believe that there are several elements to getting this right, and it starts with attracting the right people to want to work for you. In the same way that we put a lot of effort into trying to sell ourselves to potential customers, we need to take the same approach when trying to attract good employees or contractors. So in this podcast, I'm going to share with you what I have seen that actually works, things that you can go away and do right now, and others that you can start today that will pay off in the future. Your team are the face of your brand. They form the first impression, deliver a certain quality of work, and either leave your customer delighted, lukewarm, or potentially downright unhappy. So it's so important that you take your time to think about how you plan to recruit, take your time to properly assess them, and take your time to induct them properly into your business. But before we get into process, let's start with attraction. Think of future employees or subbies as being your internal customer in the sense that your paying customers are external. With these, I'm guessing you're putting a lot of thought into how you come across, what you promise to deliver, your brand, first impressions, and what makes you different. I could go on and on. The problem is that when we're looking for staff, often we're desperate and we just want the problem fixed quickly. So we rush it and end up panic hiring. The result is that we end up with someone less than ideal, go through months of stress trying to make it work, only to have to let them go and start the whole process all over again. So how do we set ourselves apart in a way that gets the attention of those who are great? One of the best ways that I've seen recently is to have a great social media presence. I interviewed Jordan Farley of Artisan Electrics recently for this very show. He has 125,000 followers on YouTube and people queuing up to work for him. Now, obviously, he didn't get all of those followers overnight. It took him the best part of 3 years, but he no longer has to worry about where his next talent is coming from. I would recommend starting by thinking about what is and what could be different about your company in the sense of it being an employer. Start by asking those people that have been with you a while what they really enjoy about working for you. It could be simple things like you always pay them on time, they have fun when they come to work, you treat them with respect, or they feel part of something. It's often different to what you think, so don't think you know the reasons. Make sure that you ask them and, crucially, listen. But also ask them what more you could do. Pay probably will get mentioned, but simply ask, what else could we be doing? Often the best ideas come from your team. They will tell you, providing, of course, you have a relationship that's based on trust. Aim to have a list of 5 key things that you think make you different and a good employer, and start with this. So now we come on to the process. Maybe you haven't even thought about this. Again, what I'm about to share is what I have seen work best for my clients. It's kind of taking a corporate approach but adapting it to suit the industry. The key thing here is to cast the net wide by having a compelling job advert, which includes those 5 key factors that make you attractive as an employer, and place it on job boards as well as asking the people that you know. I would also put it out on social media. The more active you are on this, the more effective it will be, of course. This enables you to hopefully attract many applicants, of which you then need a process to separate out the good from the bad. Always include the salary or day rate in the job title as well as the location. You'll receive far more applications by doing this. State clearly the duties and the skills, experience, qualifications you are looking for, but steer away from specifying the number of years of experience, which could leave you at risk of age discrimination. Make sure you also list what you are offering in return, for example, ongoing training and development, use of company vehicle and phone, holiday entitlement, pension, etc. I would then start by telephone interviewing your top 10, if of course you have that many. This will save you a lot of time, as you can tell quite a lot about somebody's attitude by asking them a few questions over the phone. It should only take 10 to 15 minutes per candidate. Look out for gaps in between positions they have had and ask what they were doing during this time. Also look out for people who only seem to stay a few months and then change job. We call them job hoppers, and it can be a warning sign that they are unlikely to stay long with you either. Anyone who you feel comes across quite well on the phone, invite them in for a face-to-face interview. If you have several people who are contenders, I would narrow this down to your top 3. Many people ask me, how long will it take? To which the quick answer to this is as long as it takes. Seriously, it can vary tremendously according to the type of role you are recruiting. Typically, good trades take longer to find, for example, than office and admin positions. But also, you need to move even quicker with trades. If a trade applies for a job today and they are good, they are going to get snapped up within a few days. So you need to be first off the starting blocks when their application comes in. The economic climate also has a big influence on numbers and quality of applicants. So sometimes you may be inundated and others only have a few apply. Regardless, my best piece of advice is to only hire someone you don't have any doubts about. Keep going until you find the person who really impresses you. I always say, if in doubt, throw it out. There have been times when I've ignored this, and every time it has bitten me on the bottom. At the face-to-face interview, you want to be asking them what we call behavioural questions. These are questions that ask the candidate for examples of situations that they've been in, what they did, and the outcome. For example, can you tell me about a time when you've solved a problem on a job, or you've dealt with an unhappy customer? The reason for this is that past behaviour is the best predictor of future behaviour, as opposed to asking them what they think they would do. You can do this in a casual way. For example, meet them in a cafe for a coffee and bring these questions into conversation. It doesn't have to feel like some huge formal process. If it's a trade position, I would also include some kind of practical assessment so you can see the quality of their work. This is so crucial, as in my experience, many people can, let's say, overestimate their capabilities. So let's recap on what I've covered. First and foremost, before you jump in, take a step back and find out by asking your team what is different about working for you that is good, and also what could be different. Then create a compelling job advert, one that stands out, and post it on job boards, social media, and share amongst your network. The next step is to make sure you've got a good selection process. By this, I mean telephone interview, face-to-face interview, and practical assessment if it's a trade position. Do this as fast as possible and as soon as they have applied. The early bird does catch the worm. I really hope that this has given you something to think about and it helps you attract some good people. The key is to keep at it. Don't be disheartened if your first ad doesn't produce the results. Those who keep focused and committed reap the rewards. I really hope you have enjoyed today's podcast. I would love to invite you to join our Trades and Builders Business Growth Group on Facebook, where I regularly share lots of information to help you create a more successful trades business. You can also order a copy of my book, Build and Grow, which is available on Amazon.